All right, let's jump right in. There's this phenomenon that happens every single year on a massive global scale, but for a lot of people, it's still kind of a mystery. And of course, we're talking about Ramadan. And this really is the big question, right? To someone on the outside looking in, it might just seem like a month of extreme willpower or, just being really, really hungry. But there's a much deeper story here. So what's actually going on? And just to let that number sink in, we are talking about nearly a quarter of the entire world's population. So this isn't some small niche practice. It's a global event that shapes the lives of communities from Indonesia to Indiana. Now, to really understand Ramadan, it helps to change how you think about it. It's less about deprivation and way more about endurance. It's been called a spiritual marathon, which is perfect. It's a dedicated time to build up that spiritual muscle. So what is it exactly? Well, Ramadan is the 9th month of the Islamic calendar, and its holiness, its specialness, comes from the core belief that this is when the Quran, the sacred text of Islam, was first revealed to the Prophet Muhammad. That event is the whole reason it's so significant. You might have noticed that Ramadan doesn't always happen in the summer or the spring. It moves. And that's because the Islamic calendar is a lunar, which makes it about 10 days shorter than the solar calendar most of us use. This means Ramadan gracefully cycles through all the seasons over the years, giving people a totally different experience each time. The act of fasting itself has a name. It's called Psalm. And this isn't just a friendly suggestion. It's one of the 5 pillars of Islam. That makes it a foundational, required act of worship for able-bodied adult Muslims. It's absolutely central to the faith. Okay, so we've got the what's and the when, but what does a day actually look like for someone observing the fast? Let's walk through it. So a typical day is really broken into 3 parts. It all starts before the sun is even up, with suhoor. That's the pre-dawn meal. That's followed by the fast itself, the period of complete abstinence. And then, at sunset, comes the moment everyone's been waiting for, iftar, the meal that breaks the fast. And here's something that's super important to get. The fast is about so much more than just food and water. It's a comprehensive effort to purify your whole self. This includes avoiding what some people call spiritual toxins, things like gossiping, getting angry, or being dishonest. It's a holistic cleanse. When the sun finally does set, that's when the magic happens. Tradition holds that the fast is broken just as the Prophet Muhammad did, with a simple date and a sip of water. It's often followed by prayer and then a larger meal shared with family and friends. Okay, let's get into the questions that I know a lot of you are probably thinking. This next part tackles some of the most common curiosities out there. This is almost always the first thing people ask, and for good reason. It's the one part of the fast that just seems the most challenging to wrap your head around. And the answer is, yeah, that's correct. Not even water. From sunrise to sunset, it's an exercise in complete discipline and self-control. So that naturally leads to another big question. Is this safe for everybody? Is it something that's required no matter what your personal circumstances are? And the answer is a very clear no. The faith is built with compassion. It's not meant to cause harm. It's meant for growth. So there are exemptions. Young children, the elderly, people who are sick or traveling, and women who are pregnant or nursing are not required to fast. But, we're all human. What happens if you just forget, like you're on autopilot and you take a sip of coffee in the morning? Is the whole day just ruined? I love this detail because it shows the spirit of the whole practice. If you genuinely eat or drink by mistake, it's not a sin. It's actually considered a gift from God. You're not punished. You just stop, rinse your mouth out, and carry on with your fast. It's your intention that matters most. Okay, now let's get to the absolute heart of it all. We've talked about the rules, but rules are pretty meaningless without a reason. So why go through all this effort? See, the physical challenge, feeling hungry, feeling thirsty, that isn't the point. It's the tool. It's the means to a much higher spiritual goal, which is all about cultivating a deep sense of gratitude and a real, genuine empathy for other people. And this really is the core purpose. By taking away a blessing like water, even just for a little while, you start to truly appreciate it. By feeling hunger, you get a small glimpse of what it's like for those who live with it every day. That empathy often leads to more charity, which is called zakat. It's a full spiritual reset. In the end, Ramadan is really a dedicated time to quiet the noise of daily life, to kind of recalibrate your inner compass, and to reconnect with what is truly essential: your faith, your community, and your sense of compassion for others. And that leaves us with one final thought, a question for everyone, really, no matter what you believe. If the purpose of this whole practice is to find gratitude through absence, what simple everyday blessing in your own life might you see differently if it were gone for just one day?